Now, thank you very much. We're about to open the discussion up to the floor. Remember, I'm going to call on 1, 2, 3 people and then responses. The technique is the Rory Sutherland technique. We only have one roaming microphone, so some of you will have to use your voices. Everyone okay with that? Okay, very good. So just put your hand up and speak, and if we can get a microphone to you, we will. I've just got a couple of announcements to make, and then we'll do it. So can I know where the microphone is? Okay, yes, and I'm going to start the vote pretty soon. That means that these speakers will be summing up while you're voting. I think you're just going to have to anticipate in some kind of technologically psychic way what they would have said. We've got to get out of here and we want to get the voting, and I just want to give you the vote so far and then we'll open to the floor. I can see your hands, and if a mic can get to you, fine, otherwise just yell out. I just need to give you the result. This is what you said when you first came in. That is to say, in your response to the motion, new technology is creating more serious problems than it's solving, for 65, against 125, don't know 120. You, sir, there with a hat. Go ahead.
Ms. Sutherland, you said during your talk that the problem with Marxism was that people had new technologies thrust upon them whether they wanted it or not. Is that not a problem which our society also is suffering from? For example, the abolition of checks. I have quite a few members of my family which are involved in charitable organisations which need double signatures for a cheque. When asking the facts, the answer that we ultimately got was that the only way that the charities couldn't continue, they would just have to be got rid of in the wake of checks disappearing. So surely that's not just a problem with Marxism, that's a problem with our society.
Very good point. Can you hang on to that? Yes, applaud. Go ahead. Yeah. Fine. We have somebody else. Yes, you, sir. You've also got a hat.
Yes, thank you very much.
Go for it, young Andy.
It's good to have a hat. Good technology.
Okay, let's have a vote. Is it a good... Go ahead.
I want to ask a question which is just about... we've seen over the last week the organising power of technology to be able to organise not only looting, but also the cleaning up of our streets, the good and the bad all coming together. And we seem to be able to organise ourselves as a kind of hive mind in a way that we were never able to do before. So what is the impact of technology on our collective unconscious, our experience of ourselves as a collective society?
Thank you very much. And you, ma'am? Yes, go ahead. Yes, yes, very good. So the final one was the internet has played a role in exposing corruption, as in WikiLeaks, etc. Gentlemen, go for it.
I think, well, Rory, in answer to the first question, Rory is profoundly confused about what Marxism is. He thinks Marxism and Stalinism are the same thing, which is an historic mistake lots of people make because they haven't read any Marx. Marx treats society as a social relation, not as a technically determined thing. And so the question is, who owns technology and why do they own it, not the existence of technology in itself. On the WikiLeaks question, I think that's a good example of where new technology is bad. Because what you have with WikiLeaks is just this kind of very promiscuous leaking of internal information, this vomiting into the public arena of every single piece of information, which actually has a very confusing impact on people. They no longer know what's important, they lose the ability to prioritize. There's no editorialization, which is a good thing. So that's a good example of where new technologies are bad. They undermine our ability to understand things at a more profound level.
Thank you. Anyone else? Go ahead.
I think just for a sort of very general point, again, that any technology gives you power. You've got the power for good, you've got the power for harm, as we've seen with the use of social technologies just during the riots. But I do have faith in the fact that we're a supremely cooperative society. If you think about something very banal, like getting a coffee and croissant in the morning, you think about the number of, you've probably got people scattered across various continents who, someone made the oven in China, the wheat was grown in France, you drank Fiji mineral water or something. We cooperate to an extraordinary degree. So even though you've always got this problem with technology. You know, you've got a flint axe, you can bash in your friend's head, or you can get dinner that night. I've actually got faith in the fact that people are essentially cooperative and put tech mostly to good use.
Okay, quick as you can. Keep going. Couple more.
Yeah, could I just come to that internet and WikiLeaks thing? I mean, I certainly wouldn't. I mean, the internet can be an immense force for good, I think. But I mean, I think if you look at something like the Pentagon Papers, I mean, which were released long before the time of the internet, that they had a huge impact. I'm not sure that they didn't have a bigger impact than WikiLeaks, and that could be to do with, as Brendan was saying, about judicious editing. And I very much like the point about technologies being thrust upon us, and indeed old technologies being taken away from us, like checks. And one thing I would point out is digital radio. This seems to bring nothing but trouble. And you know, who asked for that? What problem is that solving?
Yes, it is a question. Will we be able to opt out? Yes, madam, I've seen you. Anyone else before we go to the floor again? I've seen you, yes, and you. Okay, yes, go. Anyone? All right, yes. Yes, that young lady, I believe it's, yes, go ahead, please. Thank you.
Stand on the bench.
Could you get a mic? One, and there's a mic needed. Where was the second person? Yes, you. Do you need a mic, madam? Okay. I've seen you will come as soon as.
In your speech that you prefer to have high-speed aeroplanes than have them quieter and less polluting. But what about high-speed trains? We have been developing technology to make high-speed trains possible, but not quieter. So well, in a way, that's not completely true. So
you're saying there are trains and you don't need to go by plane?
Well, no, I'm saying that technically we are making things to make transport faster, just not some planes.
Pitch. There's a lady there, please. She needs a mic. No, she's back there. She's back there. Could we go to the third speaker, and then we'll go. Well, you'll be third, madam. Yes, that lady there, please. That lady there. She's got her hand. She'll have her hand up. Yes, there. Could you go, sir, and then you? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, I do mean you.
I just want to say, oh no, I'm desperate to talk.
No, go ahead.
I am an old, over 45-year-old too. I have brand new technology here, and I think your views of technology are very narrow, and I'd like to say I am ambitious and I want to be out of the house, and without my new technology, I wouldn't be here.
Can I ask what is that?
One more point, and you can
I
answer
don't
that.
know what your technology is, actually. But
Oh, okay. Could you tell us what your technology is?
Liquid oxygen.
She's on
Liquid oxygen.
liquid oxygen, and with it, she's able to get out of the house. Okay? Thank you very much. Excellent. Yes, sir. This gentleman here. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. Would the panel agree that actually maybe the oldest and the most powerful technology we have at the disposal is language? That creates our reality. It also creates a lot of the technological advancements that we're talking about. But actually, that's the key to all of this, rather than, obviously any technology can be used in a destructive or in a more positive way. And I don't think we should be a slave to some kind of muscular sense of some, past glory of technology on a global scale. Language is now allowing us to communicate. Maybe it's dumbing down, but it is sharing communication throughout the planet.
Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, obviously we're not going to... Ladies and gentlemen, obviously we're not going to be able to get to everyone. I hope you'll continue this debate and tweet and so on. We have to stop at 6. I'm doing my best. Oh, can we? Oh, how much time do we have, sir? We have another 15 minutes. That's technology. Yay! Okay, excellent. So we're finishing at 6:15. Absolutely wonderful. Okay, good. Answer, let's go. I'm still going to move it on. I'm going to do my best. Thank you very much. Go.
Okay, just quickly, on the aeroplanes question, I always wonder, well, why aren't aeroplanes being improved? You know, why are we focusing on other forms of transport? It's important to remember that aeroplanes are possibly the greatest form of technology mankind has ever made. You know, the Wright brothers, when they invented the flying, they said, you know, all those human beings before us who looked longingly at the birds and wished that they could do what they do. So the aeroplane is a wonderful thing. The fact that it is now so fantastically demonized and being so held back is, I think, symbolic of where the obsession with new technology undermines our real technological breakthroughs. In response to the woman who says that the technology allows her out of the house, brilliant, that's exactly the kind of technology I'm talking about. The new technologies I'm worried about are those that make us go back into the house, stay on our computer, tweet our feelings, Facebook, the real retreating. And it's the retreating element of new technologies that I find most worrying.
Next, please.
Can I just make one? I want to echo your point. Language, second great revolution in information transfer in biology after DNA, RNA, and I think people don't realise how profound it was. But I think the other thing that seems to be missing in the debate is that technology gives you phenomenal choice and opportunity, and you can, albeit slightly difficult, but you can turn your back on technology. But we've got more choice today in our everyday lives than we ever had. So the idea that modern technology is somehow worse, it's ridiculous.
Thank you very much. Anyone else want to speak from here?
I just second the point about the liquid, the liquid oxygen thing. Of course, that's a wonderful kind of technology along the lines of what I said about pain-free dentistry. Of course, absolutely in favour of that. But I'm also very much in sympathy with the gentleman who talked about language, and I'll come back to that later. But I think you're absolutely right. But I think language is much more than information transfer. I don't think information transfer is what language is, but I'll say more about that.
Okay, anyone else from here? Can we go to the floor again? Thank you very much. I've acknowledged 3 people. You, sir, you, madam, and then you. Yes, go ahead. Yes?
I'm completely staggered that the proponents of the motion have ignored what is probably the most dangerous scourge of our modern existence, which is nuclear weapons. Roger said that he had great faith in humanity to control the technology that we have. I would say that nuclear weapons are so powerful, carry such great responsibility, that we are really getting pretty close to wiping ourselves out. We've already seen that in the 20th century.
Almost 50 years ago in 1962, exactly. And since then. Right, madam, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Following on from the gentleman that's just said, using nuclear power, we are able to promote ourselves in terms of medical to the future. We're very, very capable now of saving people. You're talking about life expectancy being at 68, but why are we still alive now, rather than keeling over at 25?
It's because we have technical innovation that enables us to operate on people remotely, for example, that we are living longer, that people who cannot get out of the house can actually interact with other people. So it's a positive thing that you're using technology, that you're including people that might otherwise be not included, the people that are disabled, the people that might just be left to die in previous generations. So surely technology has to be seen as a positive thing in terms of power, in terms of society, but it's a question of harnessing this power rather than allowing this power to take over what we think.
Thank you very much. Yes, excellent. And a third speaker there, someone with fetching headwear, and then we'll go to the floor again.
I think it's ironic that as a sheep, I've not actually been noticed until this point. And that kind of brings me round to my point. The whole panel has been obsessed with humans and how the old technologies and the future technologies are pushing us forward as humans. But are none of us concerned about what that does to everybody else we share the planet with? Like, it seems like the more we search for what's unnatural, what's horrible about nature, the more we actually destroy what's beautiful about it. And I'd love to hear some of your thoughts on that.
But are you a real sheep or a mutation?
Both.
Good. Yeah, I mean, I very much agree with the sheep who spoke so openly and proving all sorts of things about language which we hadn't known before about sheep. And I think I did try to say something about that in relation to fish and the marine environment. But of course, what you're saying is quite right. And I think there's a huge danger of us becoming enclosed into a completely anthropocentric view of things. And I imagine one of the reasons people come here is that they want to be in a place where they're rather more open to the sky and to the...
I don't really root here, but I think if it weren't for humans inventing agriculture, there wouldn't be any sheep. I mean, there'd be no Darwinian reason for their existence other than their use for humans. I mean, I can't really see them surviving in a fight with absolutely anything. Under normal circumstances. Until the invention of the fence and the wall, I think the sheep was pretty much destined for extinction. But, sorry about that.
Anyone else, go ahead.
Can I just say something in response to the nuclear weapons guy? I mean, I agree with you about that, but I'm also I'm a skeptic as far as nuclear energy is concerned, because I think although it's obviously something that could promise sort of low carbon energy, we simply haven't dealt responsibly enough with the problems that arise from using nuclear technology, in particular waste disposal, but also what happens to the spent fuel and how there seems to be an almost inevitable consequence of that gets turned into weapons. So personally, I entirely agree with you. I think that's one of many kind of boomerangs of progress of things that we've discovered. That's where the new technology comes. It's quite different from the old technology that Roger was talking about, which I'm entirely in favour of, and most of what Rory's saying. But this is really, I agree, one of the things we should be talking about.
Very good. Okay, anyone else from here? All right, I devoted time to that side. Now that side, you sir, then you, and then you. Yes, go ahead, please.
It seems to me, Brendan, that what you don't like is not technology. What you're not like is technology. Is what you don't like is certain types of people.
Yeah, it's not that you don't like technology. It's like you don't like certain types of people, and those people are narcissists. Okay. And as a man who blogs but puts his own views up and actually is massively erroneous on a lot of what you think about a lot of people, perhaps the best thing you can do is shut up.
If anyone wants to ask that gentleman about his narcissism or anyone else's narcissism, I have an app, actually. Anyone's not talking about me, my phone cuts out. Brilliant technology. Go ahead.
Beings, and I think that the thing that drives us is the wrong thing. It's greed. For instance, we evolved in the Stone Age when we needed things. We were driven by competition and greed. Greed is the thing that gave us the psyche, the natural evolution that drove us forward. I think that the problem is that we haven't lost that instinct. We don't have the ability to evolve, to adapt to our own technology.
What if,
get it?
No, I think that's a point that Garrett Hardin made with the tragedy of the Commons in the 60s, and that's a really big problem that we haven't really wrestled with. But I think that needs a change in ethics and morality. It's got nothing to do with technology at all, although it is a consequence of technology. I agree with that.
Okay, there is an argument that what you would regard, Brendan, as the enfeeblement of technology is actually us starting to satisfy some of our human needs in intangible ways, which in environmental terms is good. I mean, but if you can satisfy, let's face it, if tweeting as a form of self-indulgence replaces the fashion industry, is that a bad thing?
No, but when people use technologies to satisfy their own intangible needs, and at the same time use them to campaign against the use of old technologies that could liberate other people from poverty, that's when it becomes problematic. So you have this, so yeah, like solar power, I don't think solar power is appropriate for Africa. I think it's inappropriate.
Why?
Because Africa needs, believe it or not people, Africa needs and most likely wants all the things that you have. They want houses and cars and roads and factories and... Well, if you want solar power, why don't you go to Africa and they can come here and I'm sure they'll appreciate what we have far more than you do. Wow, I can't believe it's now, we have now reached a level where it's controversial to call for the development of Africa. That's bad. Well, we've done it. Why can't they do it? We've done it. We leapt forward. We had the Industrial Revolution. We had the Nuclear Revolution. We have had huge advances forward.
Because we've been lucky enough to learn from our mistakes. So why should we stand back and watch them destroy?
Okay. Well, you go ahead. You go.
And this is the type of person that you were saying you dislike for being there.
okay, you go ahead and stop Africans from developing, which is what you've just implied you want to do. Other people, no, actually, she said, why should we stand back and watch them make the same mistakes we have made? Right, you might consider it a mistake to live a very comfortable life, where you can have fruit whenever you want it, running water, warmth in your house, central heating, cars. You might think that's a mistake. There are billions of people around the world who would think that's a bloody good thing. So what I'm saying to you is, I'm in favour of old technologies which liberate people from poverty and economic need. I'm not in favour of new technologies which allow spoilt people in the West to tell us how much they hate old technologies. That's my argument.
Ladies and gentlemen, if we could just have 1, 2, 3, 4 very quick summations. Very quick. Thank you very much. And in reverse order, in other words, the person who spoke last will now speak first.
Very simple question. I'll do it in one sentence. There is enormous debate about the 120 billion spent each year on the National Health Service. Absolutely extraordinary debate over every million that's cut. Quite rightly, maybe. That is 120 times the amount spent every year on medical research by the UK government. And if you actually look back over the last 50 to 100 years, the gains that have actually been derived by pure scientific research, when allied to things, other technologies like plumbing, hygiene and food, are actually vastly greater in their effect on human longevity than the money actually spent on the administration of medical care. All I'm asking is that I think that the amount we spend on scientific research in this country, and pure scientific research, should receive a similar amount of attention to the amount which we spend on medical treatment.
Very good, thank you very much.
Of course, I don't think either Brendan or I are at all opposed to either technology in general or to all kinds of wonderful old technologies and indeed some new technologies. I think what I've been trying to suggest is that some new technologies, perhaps particularly in the area of communications, not only in that area, could actually be having very, very insidiously deleterious effects on our ability to actually be with each other, to listen to each other, to do things that human beings used to be able to do, I think in some ways rather better. I mean, Twitter is not a medium for listening or for conversation. I use it sometimes, but Twitter is a medium for, it's all about me. It's all about saying I'm here, I'm right. It's very useful as a journalist, but I don't think it's a very good medium of conversation. And what I'm in favour of are wonderful old technologies, which the great writer Ivan Illich, in his book Tools for Conviviality, called convivial technologies. There are things like bicycles, libraries, and above all poetry, which I think is even more than language, I think language in its origin is poetry, not information transfer. And that's what we should actually, there's so much value in that we're not using, and we're obsessed with all this modern rubbish.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. 2 more speakers. Go for it,
well, I'm putting forward this very, very broad definition of technology as putting learnt knowledge to some kind of use. I'm arguing that technology is really part of, just as much of part of nature as a BlackBerry is, in the sense that tool use is pervasive in dolphins, chimpanzees and so on. I'd argue that modern technology is human technology. In fact, I go further than that. I think that tool use actually made us human and is part and parcel of being human. Technology today has given us phenomenal opportunities, phenomenal choice. We can do things today that we could never have dreamt of a generation ago. And the only problem with modern technology is it's given us so much power, it's how to handle it responsibly, and that's it.
Excellent, thank you very much. One more speaker. Thank you, Brendan.
Yeah, I agree very much that there is 2 sides to technology. There is a practical side, there is an artistic side. But the artistic side becomes much easier to do when you aren't worried about where your next meal is coming from, when you aren't worried about whether you've got somewhere to live, when you aren't worried about whether you can go to school or not. So before we ask people in China or Africa or anywhere else to do technology correctly, let's appreciate the fact that they first need to sort out their problems of economic need and poverty, and then they might do the kind of things that we like to do. I think it's very, very easy for people who live relatively comfortable lives to demonise other people's aspiration to live similarly comfortable lives. And I think we need to appreciate that our current comfort is built upon the labour and revolutions and the pollution of earlier generations. And if you're going to deny that to other people, that's a real problem. My problem with the new technologies, which is why I think you should support this motion, is because they allow relatively comfortable people in the West to demonise the real technological breakthroughs that other people need. So let's focus on the old technologies and pushing them forward rather than retreating into our houses and playing around with new technological devices.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, just some very quick announcements. The debate result, before the debate, 61 for, 125 against, 120 don't knows. After the debate, 101 for, 180 against, 21 don't knows. Can I ask, that's the result. Ladies and gentlemen, has anyone changed their mind since they voted? Hands up, please. Okay, 2 people. Brendan, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, all that reminds us, please don't forget there's a debate tomorrow at 5:45. It's an eco debate. Don't let the eco warriors ruin your fun. Thank you. Thank you to our panel.